What's up guys, Perry from Rockville here, and today we're going to show you what each channel strip does on your RPM1870. So if we take a look at the mixer itself, you'll see that we have 18 channels available to use. For channels 1 through 16, we have an XLR mic input that we can use to set up a microphone, and we also have the 1/4 inch line input that we can use to set up line level signals or instruments. So to set up a microphone to the mixer, we're going to take an XLR cable and a microphone. We're going to plug the female end of the cable into our microphone. Then we'll plug the other end into the mic input of one of our channels here. For today, we'll use channel 1. Next thing we'll want to do is raise the gain knob for channel 1 about halfway at first. Then on the bottom, we'll want to raise the fader for channel 1. And to make sure everything is coming out of the speakers, we'll raise the main left and right faders here. And now if I talk into my microphone, check 1, 2, you should be able to hear my voice coming out of the speakers. You can also set up a condenser microphone with the mic input, but you just want to be sure to activate the phantom power over here on the other side of the mixer. Now we can also set up an instrument to the same channel as the microphone or a separate channel so we have more control over the two. So to show you that setup, I'm going to grab my bass here along with my 1/4 inch instrument cable. I'm going to plug one end of my cable into my bass. Then I'm going to plug the other end into the line input on channel 2 for today. Next, we're going to want to raise the gain knob for channel 2 along with the fader here for channel 2. And again, we'll want to make sure that the main left and right faders are raised so we hear everything coming out of the speakers. I can then raise the volume for my bass. And now if I play, you'll hear it coming out of the speakers. So this is a cool setup because I can play my bass and sing into the microphone at the same time, which is a great setup for live performances, band practices, etc. You can also follow these same exact steps to set up anything with a line level output like a keyboard. Underneath the line input, we have the insert so we can set up effects to specific channels. So for example, if I wanted to use a compressor on channel 1, I can take a Y cable and plug the single end into the insert, then plug the other ends into the input and output on my compressor, and then I can set the parameters on my compressor and have it affect channel 1 on my mixer. Underneath the insert, we have the gain knob to set the input level for anything coming into that specific channel, like a microphone, line level, or instrument. And if there was anything coming in too hot at first, like a condenser microphone, for example, we also have the pad button underneath the gain knob that we can use to lower the signal by 25 dB. Next, we have the EQ section where we can adjust the high, mid, and low frequencies for each channel. To go through them quickly, we have the high knob to adjust the treble frequencies for each channel. So if I lowered it all the way, check 1, 2, check 1, 2, you won't hear as much clarity coming out of my mic. If I raise it all the way, check 1, 2, check 1, 2, you hear me a lot more clear. And then we set it to the middle, check 1, 2, and we got a nice balance there. We can also use the high mid underneath to control the presence, so I can lower it, check 1, 2, check 1, 2. You won't hear it as present anymore. Then I can raise it up, check 1, 2, check 1, 2. Then you get a little more presence coming from the mic. And then I can set it back to the middle, check 1, 2, and then we got a balanced sound there. Next, we have the low mid knob to control the lower frequencies in the mid range. So if I lower it, check 1, 2, check 1, 2, you won't hear as much body coming out of the voice. Then we can raise it up, check 1, 2, check 1, 2. You can hear a little more of a boxy sound coming from the voice, and then I can set it to the middle, check 1, 2. So we got a balance. And then lastly, we have the low knob to adjust the low frequencies for the channel. So if I lower it, check 1, 2, check 1, 2, you won't hear any bass coming from the mic. Then I can raise it, check 1, 2, check 1, 2. There you hear a lot more bass. And then I can set it to the middle again, check 1, 2, and there we have our balanced sound. Next, we have the send knob, which is used with the send and return over here on our mixer, so we can set up an effect through the send and return and have it affect each of our channels if we want to. So again, using a compressor as the example, I can send the signal from the send here out into the input of my compressor. Then from the output of the compressor, I would go back into the return. And now this way, we're sending signal from the mixer out to the compressor and then back to the mixer again. And now I can use the send knob on each channel to pick which channel I want to be affected by the compressor. So now from here, I can raise the main send knob to send the signal out from my mixer into the compressor. And then I can raise the return knob to have that signal coming back to the mixer. Then from there, I can use the send knob for any channel I want to be affected by my mixer. Underneath, we have the effects knob to use the built-in effects for the mixer, and we have a ton of effects to choose from by using the effects processor here on top. So with the effects processor, we have the preset select knob here, so we can choose between the different reverbs or delays and other effects available. Next, we have the parameter 1 and the parameter 2 knob that will adjust the effect depending on which effect we're using. We have the effects knob here to set the overall effects level throughout the mixer. Then we have the effects fader here so we can hear the effect through the speakers. So to show you the effects in action, I'm going to set the preset selector to preset 8 for the delay and reverb setting. In this preset, I can use parameter 1 to set the delay time and parameter 2 to set up the reverb time. Now to send my mic channel to the effects, I'm going to raise the effects knob here. And then again, I want to raise the effects fader here at the bottom. And now if I talk into my microphone, and now you should be able to hear the effect on my microphone. Underneath the preset select, we also have the FX mute, so we can turn the effects off just like that. Below the effects knob, we have the pan knob to send the signal either to the left channel of our mix or the right channel of our mix. So for example, if I set the pan knob to the left, check 1 2, check 1 2, you'll be hearing the voice coming out of the left speaker. And if I set it to the right, check 1 2, check 1 2, you'll hear my voice coming out of the right speaker. And if we set it back to the middle, check 1 2, you'll hear my voice coming out of both speakers. Next, we have the mute button to mute the channel altogether. So for example, I'm chatting into my mic right now, check 1 2, and then I can press the mute button to cut off the channel overall. Next to the fader, we have the solo button to hear specific channels. So for example, if I had microphones plugged into channels 1, 2, and 3, and only wanted to hear the microphone from channel 1, I can press the solo button on channel 1 and hear that microphone only. And lastly, we have the fader to set the overall level for our channel. So if I lower it, check 1 2, check 1 2, you won't be able to hear my microphone at all. And if I raise it, check 1 2, check 1 2, you'll be able to hear it. Now these channels are the same from channels 1 to 16, and then we have separate channels for MP3 or Bluetooth devices with channels 17 and 18. So whenever you have your USB, RCA, or Bluetooth device connected to the mixer, you'll want to use the fader for channels 17 and 18 to raise the volume. And you can even fine-tune the sound of these channels by using the 2-band EQ here. So hopefully this showed you guys how easy it is to use the channels on your RPM1870. But of course, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to reach out to our customer support team through phone or email. As always, I'm Perry from Rockville, and we'll see you guys next time.